All right. Welcome back to the Starfighter podcast with your two co hosts, Dom and Jake. We're here tonight talking about The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 6. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us, leave a like, and above all else, leave us a comment. We want to know how you're enjoying this season, how you enjoyed this episode, um, and then we love to hear you guys' fun Star Wars theories every time. So let us know. All right. With that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Up to light speed. I'm trying to keep my energy levels down for the show, but I'm excited. I don't know.
That's good.
We'll get into this episode, but
Sure
glad to
will.
be here. Glad to be here. How about you, Dom? How you doing, man?
Same here. Always look forward to doing our show every Wednesday. Um, there's just there's so much to talk about and also so little to talk about too. So I don't know how long our episode will be tonight because I feel like there's only so much to like really deep dive into. Um, but yeah, why don't I get my little rant and wine session out of the way? Um, I mean, last night was an episode. It was episode 6, and we have two more episodes to go. I text you after I watched it, and I'm like, I don't know what I just watched, to be honest with you.
Really? Okay. Not to cut you off, but it seemed like you were excited about it. So you got me more hyped for it, and I'll get into it later. But yeah, that's how I thought you were saying what you
Oh
said.
no, no, and then today I texted you. We texted a little bit too, and
Yeah.
I reiterated that like I don't know what that was. Um,
Yeah. Today I was like, what happened last night? That's what I thought. Yeah.
so I mean, you were right. You were right, Jake. I do now like that episode with Ahmed Best. I like that episode a little bit better now after seeing this episode because now I think that this was the weakest episode of the season.
Whoa.
Um, there's just
Wow.
there's so much I want to say.
Spill it, man. Well, I mean, we can get
Yeah,
into it later, but just
I guess again because I just want to make it clear this is my favorite Star Wars show. It's pretty much my favorite show, period. I always look forward to seeing The Mandalorian. And you know what? I'm not alone. A lot of us have waited, a couple years now after that amazing finale in season 2. We've waited years now to see, Din Djarin kind of find himself as a Mandalorian, really establish his presence in this universe and just like his journey as well as Grogu. And then we've waited to see Bo-Katan, um, really take the initiative and unite the people, take back Mandalore. Um, and then we get an episode like this when we're just so close to the end of season 3, and I don't know why they chose to do some of these things. I mean, is it because Jack Black had to be two kings in 1 week? King Koopa and King Dirtbag in 1 week? Like, I'm not sure. Um, and then Lizzo, just horrible, like horrible. I'm sorry, not a good actress. Um, Doc, seeing Doc Brown, I didn't mind that as much.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Christopher something. I didn't mind seeing him that much. I'm a huge
Christopher Lloyd.
Lloyd, yes, huge fan of Back to the Future. His character wasn't as jarring as Jack Black and Lizzo.
can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can't hear me.
Oh, now I can hear you. What the? Okay. I didn't hear what you said, but yeah,
We good? Oh, I might have cut out for a second. All right, sorry about that. The biggest problem
could be
about
me.
this episode is that it did almost nothing to further the plot.
Yeah.
It it was basically like let's do something fun for like these three actors, just because, and then don't forget in the last 5 minutes you need to push the plot forward a little bit. And like the last 5 minutes were really cool,
Yeah.
but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And we only get 2 more episodes after this, so it I love this show, but and that's why I expect so much more. And I think everyone expected so much more from this season. And I think a lot of fans are kind of, they have mixed feelings about this season, from what I can see online and different reviews and stuff that I look at. Um, it's not like the story isn't there. Like it is. It's just we're wasting way too much time on side missions and throwaway characters that like we're most likely not going to see again. Um, and they just don't matter. Like, and I know you and I talked a little bit about it, but like people have likened it to like episode of Clone Wars, more so, a side adventure episode of Clone Wars that might be decent, but like this is not Clone Wars. Like, and again, this season 3 is supposed to be, really big, and so far I just don't feel like it's on the same level as like season 2, which I think was just phenomenal. I guess I'll say this, and then I'll throw it over to you. We really need to make some big moves in the next 2 episodes. And I kind of liken it to sports sometimes. Like, so in this situation, if they can get a big win in these last 2 episodes, especially the finale, it's like making it into the playoffs. Like, the fans are going to forget about the losses that you had as long as you make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like that's what's really going to count in the end.
No spoilers, but like we just talked about Bad Batch season 2 or whatever, and like
guys,
how
check
they.
that out too.
Yeah, go check that out. Not a shameless plug here. I'm plugging it. Go check it out. We just talked about it, and it was like those last 2 episodes made that whole, like that's why I started at a 6, and then by the end of it, I was like, okay, this actually was really a good season, and I gave it like an 8, just because those last 2 episodes tied everything together so well. Everything that they built in those few episodes that they needed to, like they did. So
yeah.
Sorry for my rant.
No, but yeah, exactly. So like, again, you forget about in sports in a season. You're gonna have some wins, you're gonna have some losses usually, but you forget about the losses if you can, make it count in the end. So yeah, we really need to step up the game in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I'll throw it over to you. Any initial thoughts, and then yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we started out pretty much talking before we started this the stream, where I said like they could have handled this whole like Jack Black Lizzo thing. I didn't need them the whole time. Like if we just did something where they had to get introduced to them first, and then like move over, and like they had to talk to them before they could talk to the Mandalorians, and then like the first 15 minutes of the episode she's fighting this guy, make that action scene maybe like a little bit longer and build intensity in that scene before it happens, and maybe have some dialogue that tells us what happened before, instead of possibly, not saying this is what they're going to do, but dive into that next episode is what I'm feeling. And so just cut all that do it there, and then like have that dialogue even later in the episode and make that the episode, rather than I don't need Jack Black and Lizzo for 10-15 minutes on screen and then some droid fighting. And like, okay, so like I'm thinking to myself, who, like, how important are these characters if they're giving them this much time? You know what I mean? Like halfway through the episode, I'm like, are they part of something? Like that's what I'm thinking, because I'm like, there's no way they're blowing this much time on people that are just here for Clone Wars episode, like everyone's saying. So,
and I guess I gotta backtrack real quick. I called Jack Black's character a dirtbag a second ago. He wasn't. He was just a big goober. He wasn't.
No,
really, like, he was just
clip
a big
it.
Goober.
Clip it, guys. Okay, post it all over the web.
And I like Jack Black too, but it just this wasn't it for him. And this was not what we needed for a Star Wars episode.
Like, I was so shocked when I saw him in Star Wars. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, so yeah. Well, you know, news is out there. Dom thinks that
big swing and a miss.
Yeah, Dom thinks he's a dirtbag. Let it be known. But yeah, so they could have just handled that. I thought the last couple minutes were really great. I'm just wish we got more of that, and then we're not going to waste our time in the next like episode the whole time talking about what happened between Bo and the Night Owls, and like why they don't like her and who likes her. Like, we could have had that scene so early on in this episode and explored that this episode, and have 2 more episodes to kind of build intensity and like seeing who likes who, and like the trust between, and like what's going on between the clans, and if they're going to help her find other Mandalorians. And so, and then give us that kind of, you know, leave us on a ledge at the end of season 3. And so I don't know, and we'll get into it later. I don't know if you've thought about the Night Owls. I mean, they were called mercenaries, and they don't care what they do if they're hired. So, and you had a theory last week about what was going on. So I don't know if you've been thinking about that.
I did. So, I was thinking a little bit about that. I think we'll probably get to that more towards the end.
Okay.
I don't think we need to spend too much time as far as like going, you know, scene by scene, because
nothing happens, people.
Not a whole lot happened. I will say the intro. It started out cool, right?
Dude, they've done this to us like 3 times this season, where they give us like this really cool entry, and then just
the Corrin are really cool. The Corrin species, they needed to keep talking in their own language and not talk basic.
Yeah.
Especially because the dialogue between like the captain and that prince like was really cringe. Like that was really, really bad. Which is again a shame. Yeah, that Mon Calamari kid.
But I love you.
Yeah, he
stay with me.
He was a loser. Get him out of here.
No.
But
come
yeah,
on.
So if they were gonna have that dialogue, which they shouldn't have, but I mean they definitely
they should have done it in the alien language,
their own language. Yeah.
Because their mouths don't move. They're just like, you know.
I mean, I love like the tank, and then how it, you know, closed, and then, you know, she's in her captain's chair. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was sick.
And then, you know, I like seeing the Night Owls again. I did think just in general, you know, that they were gonna make an appearance again. So it's gonna be interesting to see how things play out with them.
So they were completing that mission for like another planet, and then just hiding out on this other planet, right?
I think so.
Well, dude, they never got mentioned again. You know, those 2 characters that they saved in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, they just kept introducing things this episode, and you're just like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah.
you give me 45 minutes a week, like give me something that pertains to the story. You know what I mean? Like that's just one of the other things that irked me in this episode. I was like, okay, so okay.
Yeah, and then just I mean the main I guess the main plot of this episode, um, like the main mission and adventure that they go on, um, it's like you're just waiting for them to get to the night owls, and like I was excited. I'm like, oh, they're just gonna go and hash it out like right away, but no, the train has to take them somewhere else to meet up with these clowns, and now we have to have them like fight a couple, like 2 or 3 super battle droids, um, for I don't know for why, like just so that they can have a good relationship with Mandalore later on in the future, something like that. Like we don't like why do they even need that? They don't need
Yeah.
them. Like it really wasn't important at all. Um, yeah, there's really not a whole lot more to say about like the side mission. Like it was pretty pointless.
Yeah, let me take it over, Dom. Okay, so they
Go
show
for
up
it.
to this place looking for Mandalorians that took over a ship in the beginning to do some sort of bounty hunt, and it's the owls. So Bo-Katan's looking for the owls, shows up this planet, and we have a side quest where they show up, and the guy's like, "Oh, these droids have been going out of control. Like, we need to investigate like why this is happening." Mando tries figuring it out. Actually, has a great scene that I loved where he talks to a bunch of those other guys that are the same. This is
Oh, the
gosh,
Ugnaughts.
yeah.
Yeah,
I have spoken. That's a cool
mm,
scene. I enjoyed that.
yeah.
And
Shout out to Quill. Shout out to Quill.
Yeah,
He was a good character. He was a good character.
yeah, super chill. Love it. And I'll break down as simply as I can because I don't know how much Dom wants to talk about. There is a lot of development between Bo and uh, Den in this episode, and I think that a lot of people are starting to say what we were saying about 4 episodes ago when they first got together and went to Mandalore. And people are starting to ship them now. I don't know how no one saw it before, but geez, come on, people.
Yeah.
But their teamwork and effort together, they know so many different things and they work so well together. They are like a yin and yang because Bo is very stoic and wants to handle things like without violence as much as she can, if that makes sense. And Din is like, I will cut your face off if you don't tell me like where this person is or like what's going on here. Like he will resort to violence immediately. So love it, but it shows like their personalities and like how they're getting and meshing. But so they talk to this guy, they figure out, okay, like there's a couple of droids that probably are defected, go check out these areas. They check it out. Din kicks a couple of robots. Hey guys, he doesn't like robots. They showed it. They killed like his whole planet. Okay.
I'm having a bad family vacation. So
yeah,
got to take out his anger by kicking some droids around.
Kicks them around. One actually is defaulted, so it like takes off running. And did you enjoy the chasing, like the chasing that happens at all, or were you pretty like?
Didn't Jake?
Really?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. Okay. I enjoyed him flying out of a window and tackling a big droid, though. That was pretty sick. Gets it. They figure it out. They find out that there's like these microbes messing with the droids. Guess what, guys? It was Christopher Lloyd the whole time. Okay. He was upset. And I thought it was cool, at least, that he was talking about Dooku.
Dooku.
Or Dooku. Sorry. Yeah, Dooku. Not Dooku. Sorry. Dooku. I love that they were like brought him back up. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just a guy like kind of freaking out.
Yeah. That's it. That's like the majority of the episode.
That's it.
Yeah, now we can get to like the really good stuff.
Dude, yeah, go for it. I know you want to talk about this stuff, Tom. You were jazzed up about the last 5 minutes, I could tell.
I mean, again, it really reminds me of those episodes in Clone Wars when you first see like all the Mandalorians um, and just like fighting each other, and um, definitely like kind of brutal, but like it's like kind of their way of displaying honor at the same time, if that makes sense. And so I think his name is Axe Woves. He's now the leader of these Night Owls. Um, and yeah, you can tell that they definitely um, have beef with Bo-Katan, since the Darksaber now belongs to Din, or did for a little while now. And then also, they're still holding on to this belief that um, Din is just like a lesser person and not a true Mandalorian. And so she sets him straight on that. But before that, he she challenges him to a fight, and I'd say for the most part she beats him pretty convincingly. It was a pretty cool um, fight. I really liked the use of the jetpacks and the grapple hook, and and then when Axe used his flamethrower, and she blocks it with her shield. Um, that was really cool as well. So some cool action. Again, just wasn't enough. Um, the chase scene wasn't like it was all right, but I wanted to see more of this kind of action. Again, there's just like more meaning behind these moments too. Um, but yeah, did you want to touch on some of this?
It was pretty cool. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little unconvincing. I thought it was a little bit too Disneyed up for me. And I wish it was longer. But I mean, Bo-Katan didn't really struggle, and she got hit in the face pretty hard, mind you. Like, this dude socked her a couple times, like, and I was like, okay, like, when is she gonna have her like main struggle and make it seem like she's having an issue? But they kind of just didn't give that to her. If that makes sense. I don't know if you felt that way. Like, I never was like, oh, Bo-Katan's gonna lose this fight. There was like 0% chance that was gonna happen in my head. And as like the fight went on, it was just, yeah,
Well, just
it was just.
also I mentioned before too, like in another episode that we did, knowing Bo-Katan's character from Clone Wars, from Rebels, like she's not going to lose to very many people.
No, she is a great fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, like, I don't know.
But I think the big thing about this scene is how, the Darksaber ultimately gets turned over to her at the end here. I think a lot of people are talking about this, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts. It is something that I thought about, from what was that, episode 2, when Din loses it. I did think about that a little bit.
I did too. Yeah.
I think
think
both
that
of our
crossed.
predictions.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was just gonna say,
No,
I think
go.
both of
Yeah.
our predictions before the season even started is that we had heard that there's going to be this confrontation. I'm starting to think, like, between Bo-Katan and Din, we heard that there was going to be a confrontation. I'm starting to think that they just like threw us off. The media threw us off, which I think is fine. I'm fine with that, and I think it kind of would have been cool to see the confrontation and maybe her getting the Darksaber from him through battle. But I'm actually fine with this. Like, I think it makes sense. Maybe it's not like the coolest thing that could have happened. Like, but there might have been a couple other ways that they could have gone about getting her the saber. I always knew that she was going to get the Darksaber again. I think she's the one that's supposed to wield it. I've been saying, like, from Clone Wars, from Rebels, like, she is the one that's destined to wield it, to lead Mandalore. And so, yeah, there could have been other ways to do it, but I was fine with this, and I think it makes sense. But how do you feel about it?
Eh. Like, I kind of felt like they were going to go that way. I think we both thought about it. I don't know if we said anything on our live about it, but I feel like we might have talked to each other about it before the live. So, I mean, it makes sense. I'm not like too upset about it, but like you said, they said there was going to be some sort of major confrontation between the two of them. So now I'm curious to know if that's going to happen later on in the season, like, because I don't know what they'd be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I just want to say real quick, shout out to our viewers. We appreciate you guys joining. If you guys want to leave a comment, let us know your thoughts on this episode and on the season. We will play your comments on the stream, read them out loud for the stream and for the audio listeners on the replay later on. So, yeah, join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, keep going, Jake.
Yeah, so I just don't know if that confrontation is going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I really doubt it, especially after this.
Like, I just don't know. Like, I was running through it in my head when you were talking and being like, okay, like, what would it be about? And I guess the only thing I could think of it being about is maybe he disagrees with her with some of the choices that she makes over the next episode or two, and like it happens at the end, and she takes the other Mandalorians, and then his faction or whatever is still like not part of what she's trying to do, where she gets convinced it's like they're extremists or whatever. So, but I don't even see that happening. Like, that's too much development for what they've been fluffing up this whole time this season. Like, they got to get through some stuff if they want to make that happen in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I just don't see it happening.
No, because I really pictured the confrontation being over the Darksaber. I think that's what would have made the most sense if they were going to have any altercation. Like, it was going to be fighting over that. But they found a way to kind of simplify it, and I guess that you could say they kind of found a loophole to get around that. So,
okay, let's think about this for a second. What if it was to throw us off and to make us all think it was about the Darksaber, but it was about Baby Yoda, and the Night Owls want to take Baby Yoda for some reason? Maybe they're like influencing Bo-Katan, but they're really hired by the Empire since they're mercenaries to get Baby Yoda, and so they influence her, and then like they try taking him, and then Bo-Katan has to like either like defend her people and fight Din, or I'm just saying, because one of the things we talk about with the Darksaber is that it's a lightsaber, and the only thing it really can't cut through is Beskar. And guess who has the sword and who has the shield? And so it might be like a sword and the shield kind of fight with his Beskar armor versus her with the Darksaber. That'd be a cool fight scene, but I don't think they're going to do that. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, I don't really think so.
Not this season. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I just don't see it happening, right? Yeah. It's not happening.
So, all right, my question for you.
Okay.
I'm starting to think that it's still kind of unlikely, but last week I did say that maybe there was a chance that it was these Night Owls that freed Moff Gideon. Now, it doesn't make, after I thought about it more, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because these Night Owls also helped Bo-Katan and Din Djarin take down that Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
You remember in episode 4, season 2? Or it might have been episode 3, but anyways. But it's still possible, I guess.
I mean, if you're a mercenary
and they're kind of just, going with the flow, I guess whatever sounds good to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think there's still a chance.
Yeah. They're mercenaries, right? So if the Empire paid them enough money to do something in Beskar, because we know that they have Beskar because that's what they paid Din in the first season, and it was good. So you know what I mean? Like, they can pony up, and Mandalorian when he sees Beskar, okay? They can't say no, basically. So it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. I get what you're saying, but yeah.
So what do you think the rest of the season looks like for episode 7 and 8? Where do we go from here?
My optimistic view or my thinking of like Disney view?
No, I mean like the story. Like,
I think they're gonna waste our time next episode with a bunch of dialogue that they should have used in this episode. I think they're gonna leave us on a cliffhanger at the end of the season. That's not going to be a big cliffhanger. They might say something about Thrawn, but there's going to be like an internal conflict between the Mandalorians for sure, because they wanted to leave there to be confrontations in season 4. Definitely, there's going to be some sort of civil war that's going to happen. Mandalorians don't get along, no matter how much they try. But definitely cliffhanger on that kind of stuff internally. I think Thrawn's going to be introduced at the end of the season, or a name drop of him. I hope we get like an actual visual of him. I give that about like a 40% chance of happening. But the rest of the season is going to be building that tension basically between the Mandalorians and giving us introductions to their plans for season 4 that have to do with Thrawn and cloning and all that fun stuff. It's not going to be... Season 4 is hopefully going to be hyped after this season, like where it's going to be the season that we wished this season was. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what season 4 is. That's just my predicament on the matter. But yeah, we'll see. I don't see him doing too many crazy things by the end of the season, quite frankly.
I mean, I'm fairly certain still that the finale is going to be good at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
But after this episode, it needs to be like great, and it needs to be an incredible episode. It needs to be a huge win to close out the season. Because like I said in the beginning, then we can start to forget about the lackluster moments like most of this episode, a couple other moments in other episodes from this season. We can kind of just like focus on the really good stuff. So
yeah,
I'm still thinking that the armor is bad. I could be wrong.
But I don't know.
I want to believe it too, because I really feel like it could be a huge moment for the story. I really do. I feel like it would make sense. I feel like it would just really pack a punch, you know? Especially like if she, you know, had some kind of altercation with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, or like you've mentioned before, maybe she wants to
maybe she wants
to divide them somehow, you know. She doesn't want them on the same side.
Maybe she's gonna go take over the Night Owls and take Baby Yoda, and she like wants to make him like the next thing and like groom him, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so she's gonna dip, and then it's gonna be Mando and Mama Mando trying to get Baby Yoda back next season, you know?
Do we want to leave it like that, where
we left them separated last season? It would only make sense to leave them separated by the end of this season. And don't show anything. Yeah, like Luke took Grogu at the end of season 2.
You don't think fans would complain if they got separated again?
No, because I think they ruined it by having like the Boba Fett episodes and all that stuff.
I
And
mean,
I think they're gonna try
were the
again.
best. I think those were the best with Mandalorian, with Mando in it. But
No, 100%. But I think they like didn't let that breathe enough, and they want to
yeah,
let that breathe. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Like,
agree.
and this time he has to go get him back, what just happened at the end of Bad Batch season 2. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like poetry; it rhymes. I'm just saying. Okay.
Or what if Din is the one that's taken at the end somehow?
Then it would be the Bo-Katan show, full blown season 4, and I don't know if they want to risk that. You know what I mean? Because
I
if
mean,
people are already
it
like, "This is
already kind of is in some aspects, which I'm
it,"
here for it. You know,
yeah, like I love Bo-Katan and everything like that. Like I'm not complaining about it, but it really is backseating like Din this season for sure. Like
yeah.
they're letting him shine somewhat, but it's like, oh, how's he shining with Bo-Katan? Like it's not like how Bo-Katan is shining with Din, if that makes any sense. It's been a very heavy Bo-Katan season.
They should probably focus on him a little more in the next episode.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't think if they took him away, then it would be like even less Din.
That's true. Now, didn't you have a theory at one point that he could even die at the end of this season, and then
Yes.
Bo-Katan would really take over?
Yes.
Um,
I gave that like a 50% or a 40% chance back then too. I was like, it's like kind of likely. You didn't agree.
I don't think it's super likely, but I also said I didn't mind. I wouldn't mind that if it's done right.
Yeah, he doesn't have the dark saber. All he cares about throughout this whole season is Baby Yoda. Hey, listen, if it's a Plan 99 situation, he's gonna do it.
I just don't think that like we've earned that yet in this season, if that makes sense, because like we've just said, like we haven't
spent enough time with them.
Exactly.
Like so, we really haven't.
If they're going,
it would be a piss
die.
Yeah.
If he's gonna die, then we needed to care a little bit more about where his story was going in this season.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a very like divisive. There you go, divisive.
There you go.
We'll see. If they did that, for what you just said, like just zero character development this season, except for basically the shipping of Mando and Bo, and like it would hurt Bo-Katan. You know what I mean? They could play that angle.
I wouldn't necessarily say zero, because I think it was also important for him to find the living water and get redeemed. So there was some development there, but that's kind of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was really hoping that we would have made it back to Mandalore by now,
dude.
Like towards the middle, like episode 4 or 5, and then just spent like the rest of the season on Mandalore, fighting the Empire or something like that. Fighting each other, fighting the Empire, finding more news about Thrawn, about Gideon.
Yeah. I mean, so I know Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau both love Bo-Katan, but we also discussed that Jon Favreau wanted to quit because Kathleen Kennedy kept showing up and messing with the show. And so maybe one of the things that she wanted was Bo-Katan maybe to get like bumped up a lot more. I know they say they love her and stuff like that, but it could like have irked them because like everyone's talking about it. It really isn't a Mando show anymore. It's not a Din show. But just saying, behind the scenes, possibly there was something discussed and Catherine's like, I really want this to happen, and like they love her so much they aren't like really concerned about it, but they're like, if they just killed him off, I don't know if I'd be back for season 4, honestly. At this point, like if they did it right, what you're saying,
we'd be back.
Okay, I'd be back. It's my job. All right, I'd be here. But regardless, yeah, no, I don't know. So,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What if they kill Bo-Katan?
That, at this point, could be a little bit more likely.
That's a lot more likely if they did it like that, because I wouldn't even be hurt. It would throw me for a loop. I'd be like, no, Din was so close to love. Baby Yoda almost had a mother. Oh, goodness. Like, heartbreaking. If she, like, sacrificed herself for both of them. And I think that would even
I had a theory on that before, like, a few episodes ago, or maybe even before the season started. I had mentioned something like, what if she sacrificed herself? And
I think we talked about that, yeah.
It was the armor that kills her. That was one of my theories.
So again, what if the armor is trying to get Baby Yoda and she has to like protect Baby Yoda and Din, and he takes him? And Bo is. What if we don't know what happens to Bo? Maybe she comes back next season, folks. I don't know. Listen, so that would be like a good way to handle things. I'm down with that.
Yeah,
that'd be the best way to go. You know, I don't think Din. If they were smart, they would kill off Bo, or like not have us know what happens to her. So, but yeah. All right. Okay. Don might be right, folks. You heard it here first. Tell you what.
Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say, man.
No, that makes way more sense. Like the character development, we just saw Bad Batch season 2, not to make the reference, but both these guys work on both those things.
Yeah.
And they built up Tech, and then spoilers, Tech dies, or at least everyone's 95% sure that he's dead.
Yeah.
But they did that so well, and if they built up Bo just to, that's gonna be a hard episode 8. You know, and like that is. Oh, goodness gracious. And what you just said too, like, oh, Bo was such a great fighter. And like, if you watched anything, like, you know, she just beats everyone. And then she. And what if we got mistaken? What if it's like a deceptive thing that happens because she trusts Paz? And Paz is the one to like just jack her up, dude. You know?
That's possible.
Like, that would be something. Like clobbers on Mando. Bo comes in and tries to help Mando. Guy clobbers on her, kind of, and then Armor comes in and jacks her up, and she's like defending. And they got to. Oh my good! Don't even talk to me about that if that happens.
So I think the other thing that I forgot to mention is Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode.
Yep.
Her track record has been very good
when
it comes to directing. I mean, she didn't write the episode, right? So, you know, maybe she did okay, but at the same time, I do expect a lot more from her episodes.
And that's why I think everyone thought that this week was going to be such a big episode, is because she was directing it or whatever, but just it wasn't. I thought it was cool how they did it and how she directed it. I like what you said, but I just think that the episode kind of fell flat. Like, maybe they just didn't give her a good episode this year. I don't know why, but
yeah,
you know, because like you said, she didn't write it. Like, she didn't have like free range to do whatever she wanted. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel bad. I want to see her next season do something a lot better.
Me too. I mean, isn't there a chance that she still could direct another episode, like
I
separate
think
from
there
Kate?
is. I think there is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think so.
she's proven like she could handle doing the finale.
Yeah.
You know, even like with this episode that I didn't care for too much, um, like she could close out the season and she could close it out strong. Like I know that for sure.
Yeah. No, honestly, it'd be really cool for them to give her like her own kind of like show if they could make that work. Kathleen Kennedy probably wouldn't let that happen, but
Yeah, I mean I could definitely picture her getting her own Star Wars show to direct
yeah,
for sure.
I would
Um,
love that. Yeah, and even then have her direct a movie.
yeah.
Shoot, make one of the Star Wars sequels.
Well, I don't have too much more to say on this episode, Jake.
No, yeah, I'm good. I think we kind of covered everything, quite frankly. So
Yeah. So let us know, guys. You know, whether it's here live or on the replay. Let us know how you enjoyed this episode again. Let us know your theories for next week's episode, your theories for the finale. We'd love to hear it. And then, I mean, we can talk a little bit about what else we've been doing, Jake, if you want. We put out an episode. We clipped the episode together. That's like a lot of our theories that you guys can check out if you haven't already. That did pretty good on our channel, so thank you for those of you who have watched it. And then we've got a couple other shorter episodes coming out soon. We're also going to be doing a special review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. You know, where I'm sure Jack Black, I'll appreciate his acting much more.
dude, he's a dirtbag, dude. Okay.
Hey, Bowser's supposed to be a dirtbag, so that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, Dom's going to be here this weekend to tell you how Bowser's a complete dirtbag, and I'm just going to be here supporting him. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we just reviewed season 2 of The Bad Batch. We really focused mainly on the great moments that were in that season. So, and like we focused in on the important things, not just for that show, but a lot of things that could have big meaning for, and that do have big meaning for Mandalorian, the Ahsoka show, other shows and movies going forward. So there's some really good stuff in that Bad Batch review for you guys to check out. Other than that, I think there is one more announcement. You know, we've been talking about Jake. I think I can go ahead and let the people know.
Let them know.
But Jake and I are planning to do another show and try and make it a regular thing. And so when we first started the channel, we had a show called Everything Nerdy. And mainly what it was is we had a few different topics that we broke down in the world of entertainment. And so we want to get back to doing one of those type of shows more regularly. And so, yeah, we have a new name for that, but I'll save that for another time here soon. But yeah, we've got that new show in the works that I'm excited about. I think that'll be fun. There's definitely more exciting things that I think have been happening with movies and shows. Just in this year, in the last couple of months too, and for the most part, both of us keep up to date, so that'll be fun. There's some trailers and stuff too, like that. There's been some good trailers that I'm sure, like going forward, we'll be reviewing some of those together on that show. And yeah, should be pretty cool.
Yeah. Name will be dropped soon. Probably when we do the first show, it's going to be dropped. But yeah, it's gonna just be leaks, um, things we're hearing about in media with different movies going on. You know, like things like where the DC's going towards, like what movies they're coming out with, um, what direction Marvel's gonna take after this kind of confusing first phase, and I'm excited. Like I followed the news, and it'll be a good time. So
Yeah, for sure. Did I miss anything else that we were planning on doing soon, or is that pretty much it? Mario Brothers here in a few days.
Mario Brothers, and I think that's it. Yeah,
All right.
I got to get my ticket. So, did you get your ticket?
No, I'm gonna do that tonight. Actually, I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it's gonna sell out where I'm at. So
So yeah, I'm gonna have to see it on Friday probably at some time because I'm busy tomorrow.
gotcha.
But that just means I'm gonna be like a lot more fresh, you know.
Yeah, I am gonna see it tomorrow night. So I'm planning on doing a very short, non-spoiler uh, reaction, like first reaction to the movie tomorrow night, just a couple minutes long, so you guys can be on the lookout for that. And then this weekend, Jake and I will do the review. We'll either put it out this weekend or early next week. Give you guys a little bit of time to go see the movie.
Or we'll just yeah, we'll spoil it for everybody. So
All right, I think that wraps everything up for us here tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching on the replay. Again, you can check us out on the podcast feed, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good evening, everybody.